quite an honored grin on this little girl's face. I've always loved this picture. We've had people, asking a little bit more about our lives and a little bit more about us and who we are. So we thought today that maybe I could tell you a little bit about this little girl and how she grew up.
Tiny House Prepper.
Hi everybody, this is Elizabeth with Tiny House Prepper, and we're doing something a little bit different today. As I said in the little intro thing, we've had some people asking a little bit more about our lives and maybe some of our stories. So one of the things we're going to start doing is sharing just a little bit more about our own lives and about how we met and some of the things that we've have had happen in our lives and some places we've been. And so today I'm going to be talking a little bit about Elizabeth. So I guess this is like Meet Elizabeth Day. It's really quite beautiful today. I just hung those flowers. We just picked them up, and I'm going to be planting some beautiful petunias while I'm talking to you guys. And so we'll be, getting a chance maybe for you to get to know me today just a little bit more. So I'm going to be doing a little scooping as I talk, but I'll continue to stay on my subject here. Aren't these beautiful? They're beautiful color. I'm looking forward to planting them so much. It's one of my favorite colors. Well, I've been in the East for a very long time now, but I really grew up in the West. And actually was born in Missouri. My dad was stationed on a great big aircraft carrier. If I swat, it's because along with spring comes the little gnats. And anyway, he was on a big aircraft carrier, and so because he was gone, this was during the time of the Korean War. It was in the 50s, just right after Korea, I think. Anyway, he didn't see me till I was about 5 months old. So I was staying with my mother on a farm, and that has been in my family for many, many years, and one of my favorite places in the whole world. And it was outside of the farmhouse that picture was taken of me when I was little, grinning as I walked along holding somebody's hand. So the first picture here, yeah. This next picture that we're going to share, we had gone to Virginia Beach. I was very little. My dad was stationed there in the Navy. And so I guess I have always loved water and never been afraid of it my entire life. Because that day with that little ruffled swimming suit on, my parents were there with me on the beach, and my sister was a little bitty thing. She was really small, and she's 2 years younger. And so Mom thought I was with Dad, and Dad thought I was with Mom. And all of a sudden they realized that neither one of them knew where I was, and they looked out, and I had just gone right out into the ocean. My little ruffled behind was just floating out on a wave. And my dad's 6'5", big man, big sailor. He went tearing out there and just grabbed me by the ruffles and pulled me up out of the water. And apparently I was just laughing my head off. I just thought it was wonderful. So I guess from the time I was tiny, I have just really loved the water. Always loved it. So anyway, I got to remember to plant my flowers here. So we were stationed there, and then I'm kind of going through my pictures here. Then we ended up back in Missouri, and where I was born. And there's a little picture here where I was having an absolute ball with a snowman, and I've always really liked that picture too. I was really enjoying it. Bill just helped me get these out of the little container they were in, so it's easier for me to get them planted. So the next picture officially would be the one by the farmhouse. I loved being there, and I always have loved being there. My grandparents had about 182 acres, and they're gone now, but my uncle has it, and I have always dearly loved that farm. Here's a picture of me. You can't see one of my cousins in it, but I'm sitting on a spool. And I'm right outside the farmhouse, having a ball sitting on that spool, playing with cousins. I loved that thing. And apparently I just always grinned. My uncle has said that I absolutely never, ever stopped smiling all the time. And my cousin, who was a little older than me but wasn't as tall as me, used to haul me around in a wagon all the time, and I'd just smile my head off the whole time. Okay. Then, just to tell you real quick, we went from there and had to move out west, and that's really where I grew up. And we went to Wyoming after that, to Cheyenne. It's a beautiful, beautiful place out there. And big winds and stuff. But anyway, there's me playing on a playground when we were living there in Cheyenne. And so we had moved to Cheyenne. And here you can see me, I think this is around Christmas time, just sitting with my sister Dana, the one that's been in other videos with me. She's 2 years younger. And we're just sitting there, and looks to me like I'm thinking really, really hard. And then a couple of wonderful things happened. One of them being the birth of my youngest sister while we were in Cheyenne. She's almost 5 years younger. And the other was getting this wonderful little black puppy named Sam. And I've got a picture here of him, but he was our dog all the years I was growing up, and he actually lived to be about 17 and a half years old. I was actually coming home from my honeymoon when I found out that he had finally died. So he was a part of my life all those years growing up. So we were living in Wyoming, and then we moved down to the desert, down to Phoenix, Arizona. And man, it was wonderful there. Just about got them all planted now. I'm putting my last one in. And I'll share with you guys over the summer as they grow and get more beautiful. These colors, I think, are going to be absolutely gorgeous. And I am getting chomped by little gnats and flies on this lovely spring day. So I think I'm going to give up and go inside. They think I'm delicious. Isn't that beautiful? They're going to grow. Okay. Well, I totally yelled surrender and had to come back inside. At least all the petunias are planted. We have these little gnats, and they're like little tiny black flies that only come out in the early spring. I wasn't even thinking about that today. And as soon as it warms up more, they won't be around as much anymore. But boy, they think I'm delicious, and they don't bite Bill. They just think I taste good. Oh, goodness. So anyway, I'm back inside, and I'm kicked back a little bit in my recliner. It really helps my knee if I can get off of it, and makes it keep from swelling, so it's probably a good idea. So I hope I was keeping my head straight, telling you about things, and planting petunias, and fighting gnats. So anyway, I'm going to continue, I think, from inside here. So we had been living in Phoenix, and oh my goodness, it was beautiful living there in the desert. I used to be able to go over to my uncle's house and take his horses, and he just let me ride out across the desert on them, which I just loved. And you have to be very respectful of a lot of critters around there that are poisonous, but you get used to watching out for things, listening for rattles, things like that. But I did love it there. My goodness, when we were little, we would go out and run around. It was 115, 120 degrees in the summer. And as long as you weren't barefoot in the sand, because it would blister your feet, we just played all the time outside. And I have a lot of Indian background, Cherokee Indian. And all of us, oh my goodness, we just tanned so dark. In fact, one of the pictures that I really want to share with you is going to be coming up here in just a moment and showing how dark we would tan. Oh my goodness. So, okay, I showed you my sweet dog I grew up with. Yeah, I'm going to show you that swimming pic. I don't know why I look so startled. Oh my goodness. But you can see how very dark my tan would get. We lived to swim. We absolutely lived in the water. And I remember having a lot of wonderful memories playing there. And one day, a friend and I went out, and they don't water in Phoenix. They didn't back then anyway. Like sprinklers, because it's not going to do any good. It evaporates almost before it hits the ground. So they irrigate areas that have to get some moisture. And so in the summertime, I lived right beside the school, and in the summertime, they would irrigate the areas that they wanted to keep in some grass for sports and stuff, which made the most glorious mud on some of the places that didn't have grass. And my girlfriend and I put on our swimming suits one day and went over there and just completely covered ourselves in mud from head to foot, and then just let it dry in the sun. And then we discovered that that's really uncomfortable when you're trying to move, because it grips every single hair on your arms and legs and pulls. And I don't know what we looked like when we were staggering home, but we got back up to her backyard and her mom's like, "Don't take one step closer." We were absolutely encrusted with mud. And I was really a tomboy. And so she took the hose out, and you have to make sure you spray for a little while to get the hot water out of the hose. And then she started just spraying us all down so that we could, come back to civilization again. And she managed to somehow get all that crusted mud off of us. But I do have really wonderful memories living in Phoenix. And then we moved up to Colorado Springs. And that's where I spent from about 10 years old, up until after college and getting married and all that was in Colorado. I dearly, dearly love it there. And I had one other picture I wanted to show you. And I think this was probably when we first moved up to Colorado. And everybody's got to go through a geeky stage, right? And this is like a truly geeky, dwarfy picture of me when I was a kid. I loved the sailor hat I got from my dad. And this is one of those pictures that you just trust you're going to outgrow all of that. But I do get a kick out of that picture. So, okay. Also, I don't know how many of you will remember, but eyeglasses went through some very interesting stages. And I think this picture is of me in 4th grade. And I had such fashionable eyeglasses on. I was so proud. Oh, goodness. It's so much fun to look back at those. Well, then as I got older, our family were very big on camping. We just loved it. And we had actually camped even in Arizona on a place called the Mogollon Rim. And people don't realize it, but there's a pretty big, like a mountain ridge there. And it stops all the water from getting over into the desert side. But on the top of that rim, there's quite a bit of rain. And it's like a rainforest in the middle of the Arizona desert. Truly a beautiful place. And we would camp there a lot. My family would just go and just, for weeks at a time. And then when we moved up to Colorado, we would go to what's called the Collegiate Peaks. They're all 14ers, over 14,000 feet. And I truly love the rugged Rockies. Oh my goodness, so much. And I'm going to show a few pictures as I got to be a little bit of an older teenager, as I got older. One of them, is right by this beautiful water. And us kids, we'd go and find a pretty substantial stick and strip it off real well, and so we could get a hold of it, and we'd get out in those mountain streams. My dad took the temperature one time, and it was 43 degrees. He thought we were nuts. But we'd get out there until we turned blue, but we had so much fun. And climbed all over the place, and we actually almost made it to the top of one of the 14ers in that wonderful range there. But we just couldn't quite make it to the top, well, with the time we had. And I discovered that my breathing was getting a little weird up there, so it's not quite the same as driving to the top of Pikes Peak, because you got to climb the whole way. There's a picture here of me sitting with Dana, same sister that you've seen in other videos. And you can really see the Indian in me, and you can also see the 70s and the knitted headband. And it's definitely the 70s, probably 71, 72, 1971 or so. But sitting there with Dana, that's one of my favorite pictures with her. And also sitting above a mine that we had there up in the mountains, and they had a lot of old mine shafts and stuff. So it's truly beautiful country. And so I have wonderful memories growing up there. And so I lived there until I went off to college, and then I was back there with Bill. And we lived there for quite a while until we took off for Germany. But that'll be another story. All right. So I wanted to show you just a few then as the years had gone by. Just to get kind of an idea. I have a really sweet older cousin that I'm actually excited because I'm going to get to visit with her after all these years this coming summer. And she was one of the most beautiful women I have ever known in my life. Very tall, gorgeous. and she was in the Miss Yakima, Washington pageant, and I think she went on to the Miss Washington pageant. And this picture is of me getting to try on one of her dresses, and she was older than me, so I felt so proud. You can just see me just beaming in this picture, and I like it, so I thought I would share it. And then in this next one, I think I'm now in 10th grade. Hair was down to my waist, and just showing you just a couple of the school pictures. I had gotten really involved in music through the years, of course, and started taking piano when I was 7, and loved to play and loved to sing. And so when I got into high school, I was able to get into what they called a madrigal group, and it was like one of the special choirs, in the high school, and we traveled all over the place. And I always thought this was such a beautiful dress. This was the dress that the girls wore in that madrigal group, and I really enjoyed it. We traveled all around in that. Bill likes this next picture. I think the expression on my face is so classic for me, but this was an Easter, and got my Bible in my hand, getting ready to go to church. I loved being in all the stuff at church. Loved being in the youth group, going to camp. I have wonderful memories of the mountains in Colorado, going to church camp. Oh my goodness. I was so ornery. We had this huge toboggan slope we used to go down, and I remember one time I got on toboggan with a couple of really big guys and stuff, and I think we were like 4 feet off the ground, flying from one hump to the other on the toboggan slope. But it was a wonderful church camp that we had there. But I was heading off to church on Easter in this picture. So, and now as we go along, this picture is graduating from high school, and there was 700 people in my graduating class, and life was just really beginning. I think at that point I really felt like I definitely wanted to go into nursing, and that was my goal. And I actually worked for a while after high school, so that I could help to pay my way through college. And so I had worked for a while, and packed everything up, and it's just really kind of wild to look back. And I'm really grateful to have been able to grow up in places that were just truly beautiful. And the sky was always big and deep, and you could see for miles and miles. And it was growing up out in the West, I got to admit, some beautiful, beautiful country. So this last picture that I'm going to show here is an excited, nervous, kid getting ready to go off to college. And that was that day in those blue jeans, which, by the way, that patch is a hippopotamus on my knee. That's a little cute little picture of a hippo. But that was my first day of going off to college. And so that's as far as I'm going to go for now. I wanted to just give a little glimpse, a little bit into my life when I was a kid and growing up, and share a little bit with you, along with my petunias. But as time goes by, we'll tell more stories. I'll tell you more about it, because really, after getting into college and stuff, Bill becomes a part of my life, and it becomes our story, together, and I want to share that with you. But anyway, thanks for joining me, today. We're going to be going on and just talking about other things that have happened in our life. We've actually had quite an adventure. A few previews. I had a motorcycle. Bill helped me get a motorcycle license, and we were 5,600 miles on a motorcycle for our honeymoon. What an adventure. And all the way across America, and we'll be talking about that. And as we can find pictures in the middle of all this stuff with storage and everything, we want to share them with you. And so it has been an adventure being married to Bill. And I got to admit, growing up, I had opportunities to be in many different places and experience many different things. And when I moved myself up to college, that was the 17th time I had moved since I was born. So it has definitely been an adventure. So anyway, I love you guys, and thanks for sharing this with me. And I'm glad I'm indoors and away from the gnats, and I'm excited about my flowers. And I love you, and I appreciate your comments. And please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. God bless you guys. It's those little pretty flies.
Blooper.
Blooper. Oh gosh. Oh, it went right up my nose. Okay, try again.
Okay.